Welcome to another episode of Addicted to the Q. I'm Brad with Meets My Mistress. We got Brian with Addicted to the Q, so fucking awesome barbecue. The bum is doing bum things and always getting ready to go on out of town for the weekend or out for the week with his job. Tonight we got Brad with us. How are you doing tonight, Brad? I love the name.
It's a good name. People with this name are good people.
That's right.
I'm doing well. I had a good weekend. So excited to be here with you guys. Excited to talk about some barbecue and talk about a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So you're from Wisconsin. I saw you did the web cook-off in Wisconsin. Are you actually from Wisconsin, or are you from Illinois?
I'm from Southern Illinois, like South Central Illinois. For those
What city?
Effingham.
Yep, I just drove through there last week. I actually lived in Marion for 4 years, and my headquarters is in Indianapolis. So I drive right along I-70 and see the big cross whenever I go out there.
Yeah, big cross. Fun fact about the big cross, that I like to tell people. So my father, used to work as a mechanic for a construction company when I was growing up. And the construction company that he did, they built the giant cross. And he used to have his lunch breaks on top of the cross. So I got a good history with that cross. It's when you say Effingham, that giant cross. So it's hard to miss.
Yes, it is. So you primarily cook Illinois, Wisconsin. Do you go everywhere? Where do you normally cook area?
So like right now, Wisconsin, Illinois, Minnesota. If there's a good competition in Michigan, I try to get to it. Because where I'm at in Green Bay, I'd have to hit the UP, and there's not too much in the UP, but if there is, it's usually Masters. And I'm just kind of sticking in the backyard, those two meet. So, but yeah, primarily, Wisconsin, Illinois. I've done Indiana. I'll be doing Missouri this year and Ohio. But yeah, primarily Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois.
So which contest are you doing in Missouri?
They have a rib cook-off in, I think it's Blackwater or Blackwell.
Blackwell, gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's like it feels like maybe a half an hour below St. Louis. I think it's something like that.
I think that's right. Yes.
Are you doubling down with the backyard series and the rib cook-off?
Yeah. It's really easy for myself. I'm just, I'm a solo, cooker. I don't have people. My wife does not want to travel with me. She is not like barbecue. My kid is 2. He's not going to be much of a help. Not for a few more years, at least. So, like for myself, it's what I can load in the back of my pickup truck and drive. So these rib cooks, because you're just cooking ribs. You might do an ancillary. It might be a dry wet rib or a rib A, rib B. And then the backyard cooks, just ribs, chicken. That's 2 drums. I throw on the back of my truck some tables, and I can roll.
So you canopy cook, in other words.
Oh yeah, I'm popping up. I'm real rustic, myself, 2 drums, a pop-up tent, a stained white table. Yep. I'm living the dream.
Yeah, I canopy. I had the trailer. I went canopy to trailer, back to canopy, and I don't mind the canopy. It just makes it easy.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing.
Yeah, well, not me very often.
I did that for 3 years and decided I was going to upgrade to a trailer. And now I don't know if I win more money, but I'm more comfortable when I sleep.
Well, yeah. I'm about ready to go back to a trailer. It's after the wind Friday, trying to just hold the canopies down. Like, Weeze took his canopy cover off. It was just stupid down there.
Mm-hmm.
But so where did you get? What's that?
So that's why if I go to a contest and it's going to be windy, I check the forecast. If it's not going to rain, I throw my drums outside of the trailer and just let them be because I can do all the work in the trailer.
Oh yeah, 100%. Let's talk about the name Behemoth. Where'd you come up with that?
So that's actually a real fun story. So back in my 20s, I used to be a professional wrestler. like just Southern Illinois, going from like bingo hall to bingo hall, abandoned church, Knights of Columbus building, wherever. And I'd be like wrestling. So I'm a legitimate 6'5". I'm a big guy, So like, when I walk into a building, the promoter, he just starts like drooling a little bit when he sees me walk in. Cause like, this is a guy that could sell tickets. So I got named the Behemoth. Brad Thompson was my name. And so I wanted to do a little moniker to that. So like when I came up to Wisconsin, it was right before COVID hit. I kind of stopped wrestling. I was like, I'm kind of done. My neck hurts, my back hurts. I didn't do it very long, but I was like, I can already tell, this is too much. So like when I started doing competitive barbecue, I was like, I need a name, So I was like, well, I was like, okay. And I was like, just like trying to think. And I was like, the promoter, like the event organizer was like, hey man, what's your barbecue name? And I'm like, Behemoth BBQ, go. I'm like, that was about the same amount of time that it had for me to come up with Behemoth Brad Thompson as my wrestling name. So I was like, just off the top of my head, let's go. So
now, did you keep like boots or tights or anything, autograph them and throw them in a frame?
No, I did not do anything like that. I got some of like the bigger I won't say like bigger name people, but like some of the more well-known wrestlers I wrestled against or with or something like that. Like I have like pictures with them, stored away like on a flash drive or like on my computer, but like I don't have anything like, autographed or anything. I was not good enough, big enough. I was, like I said, I'm 6'5". I billed myself as 6'9". I wore 2-inch lifts. So I was like 6'7" coming to the ring. And my whole job was to go in there, look big, look scary, and put over or lose to, their main guy, or to like who they're trying to make look good. Like I was not I was not going in there. I was the term is jobber to the stars, So I was not somebody that was going in there like getting fans very often. So
yeah.
So if somebody paid you the right amount of money on a Friday before a contest, could we build a wrestling ring and have a wrestling?
I got paid in hot dogs and handshakes. Man, if you got a good enough hot dog, I'm there.
Brian, there you go.
I got hot dogs. Yeah. Yeah. That's hilarious.
That's
so
awesome.
I was kind of skimming through Facebook as Brad says I'm stalking. I want to talk about a shirt I saw that you posted.
Oh yeah,
barbecue grandma.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yes. I did see that.
I was like, okay, I want to know more about this.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. So I this year, I took my barbecue logo. So it's the old NWO from the 90s logo. I made Behemoth Barbecue in homage to my wrestling days, my love of wrestling. But on the back of it, I put hottest grandma in barbecue. And
that's what it was,
yeah. And I did this because I was like, well, first off, who else is claiming that title? I'm not going to put the fattest guy in barbecue. Like I'm not going to like, there's a lot of people who can claim that moniker. I could put up that fight, but or like the hottest fat guy in barbecue. Like there's a lot of people that could name that. So I was like, no one's going to claim the hottest grandma in barbecue. And then when you see someone who looks like me, going out there like, I'm the hottest grandma at barbecue. Like, I'm really just hoping that I'm getting somebody to laugh. I'm getting somebody to ask a question. They want to talk to me and they remember my name. I really, I did this and I did this at a contest in a rib contest in Manawa, and I tagged St. Croix Valley. And I was talking to again Scott Nardi, world steak champion, and I was like, Scott, what makes me the hottest grandma on barbecue? And he gave an answer, and I forget what he said. But then I tagged Croix Valley because they were their logo was in the back, and they're like, oh, that's one hot grandma. And I'm like, okay, see, it's working. These companies, they're gonna remember me, and then when I come around asking for sponsorships, they're gonna be like, oh, we want to sponsor the hottest grandma.
The hot grandma.
Okay.
The hot grandma.
So. Now here's something. I'm only going to do this, and anyone on the podcast is going to have to go to our YouTube channel and watch this to see. But I have a merch line that we're going to be coming out with, and obviously you see So Fucking Awesome there. Mm-hmm. This is going to be for toddlers and babies.
I make so fucking awesome videos.
Yes.
I'm 100% gonna get that from my toddler. 100%.
When you won that the NBBQA when you
my
your
thing's
top secret one, your top secret one, I remember that lady was like so fucking awesome barbecue, and everybody laughed and
that was great. And then what was that? Yeah, that was NBBQA.
Yeah,
where everyone's laughing because she said it so fast and then stopped and paused. And I'm just sitting out there like, I'm like, it worked.
Right.
So
that's what we're doing. I'm trying to make people laugh a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So how was the rib cook-off in Wisconsin? How did you not get frostbite?
Oh man. So we've had 2 of them up here and they both were like sub 20 degrees. And the one in Manawa we had like 8 inches of snow. Like we drove 8 inches, like 5 inches of snow driving there. There's 8 inches of snow. It snowed the entire day. And I'm out there in Crocs, I call them a church socks because they're holy, and they're just, I am not dressed for 8 inches of snow, but I hardly ever am. And it was a rough day, but it is. We got to go inside. We got to, stay warm by some people. Some people had the nice pop-up tents with the indoor heater and all that stuff. So you can kind of pop in and say hi to people and get warmed up. But there's a lot of time you're just kind of crowding around your barrel being like, this feels great, but it's weird, cooking in 8 inches of snow and it's like sub 20 and you pull your ribs out and you're cutting ribs. And by the time you get them in the box, they're already room temp and you're taking them in. It's it's a rough day. It's not like, an 80-degree day and, they're still steaming as you're walking them to the judge's table. Yeah. So.
I'll be darned.
That, and I wonder if some of this is going to sound kind of stupid, but I wonder if sometimes because the rib cook-off doesn't have garnish, if maybe a little garnish sometimes would help them a little bit to keep some of that heat in there.
I mean, they give you the tin foil, but
yeah,
I would hate to have garnish on that day. Just I'd be laying down ribs on frozen lettuce. So
yeah,
well, that's true.
That's good.
No, I remember looking at the calendar for that day, and I was like, there's no way in hell I'm cooking in Wisconsin in January. There's no way.
I took a video of it. I posted a video of the Manawa cook, and I'll set to send to you after this is done.
Yep.
I don't think I got this on video, but when I closed my rib box, it was snowing as I was doing all this stuff. And by the time I opened my rib box, laid my ribs in, and closed my rib box, there's been so much snow accumulated that I literally poured snow on top of my ribs.
Oh, wow.
As I'm why am I doing this? There's that was the question that escaped my mouth. I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And then I walk in, I'm like, okay, yeah, I get the calls worth it. Calls
are worth it, but I'm at Brad to get the trailer to get out of elements and have a good night's sleep. I won't cook in December, January, February.
Yeah.
Oklahoma was a blast in January with about 40-mile-an-hour wind there at the Invitational.
Yeah.
The rib cook-off Invitational. That's what I said. I didn't put a damn canopy up. I'm like, that's one more thing to tear down, and that wind was just whipping around. I was trying to set my drum somewhere where the wind wouldn't be. It was brutal.
Yeah.
Oklahoma in general is windy usually, no matter where you are in Oklahoma.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, that's Tornado Alley right there too.
Yeah, and the cook didn't. Well, I had a decent cook. It wasn't the best, but it was decent. But yeah,
so what got you into barbecue?
That's kind of a long story. So my uncle used to do the Master Series for a good number of years at Southern Illinois. His name was Jeff Waters. And I don't know what his team name was, but he was doing comp barbecue, and we went to my cousin's wedding, and he served like, he did the brisket for the wedding, and I was like, this is such good brisket. My dad and I were both talking, and we were like, this is such good brisket. Oh, why can't we make, like we could never make something like this. We got talking and everything like that, and there's like the one thing that my dad and I could I guess have a conversation about or connect on was like barbecue. So we started talking about barbecue more, and we were like, man, what can we do to get something like that? So we just started fiddling around, doing stuff, trying things in the Weber kettle, then the Weber Smoky Mountain, trying to figure out, ribs, chicken, brisket, and he kept doing his things, but then I had to go off with life. So then when I moved up here to Wisconsin, as COVID hit, and I'm like, man, I have no friends in Wisconsin. I just moved to Wisconsin. I have no friends. I have no hobbies. I have nothing going on in my life. I need to do something. I'm going to go crazy here in Wisconsin. And there was a guy selling a drum, a Gateway drum for $500. And I was like, I just want to, that's in a range where, I can buy it. I can play around with it. Mm-hmm. And I told my wife, and I was like, this won't lead to me getting into competitive barbecue. Don't worry. And I bought that
Famous
drum.
last words.
Oh, yeah. The guy was real nice too. And he was like, oh man, you're we were just, just sitting that's what I think I do love about barbecue is you can just kind of sit and just talk to anybody about barbecue for the longest time. We just got to chit chat. I was sitting there, I stood in his garage for over an hour, and I forgot why I was there for a hot second. And eventually, I get the drum, and we get it back to my house, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is great. And I'm cooking all the time. And then I don't know, 2-3 months later, a Hunsaker drum pops up, and I'm like, babe, it's only $500, She's like, you already have one. I'm like,
gotta have a spare.
Well, yeah, I was like,
yeah.
Well, babe, what if I ever wanted to go do a competition one time, just see what it's like. And she was like, you said this wouldn't lead to anything. And I'm like, it's not. And then, and then another Hunsaker drum pops up on Facebook Marketplace. And then, I'm building a smoker, and it's just it really just snowballs way too quickly. So
is that how the joke goes? That's when the fight started.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Next thing you know, you got about 7 or 8 of them. It's yeah.
I think I have 5 grills / smokers in my garage right now, and I have 3 that I'm building. So it is a constant fight.
It's
like fishing rods. You can never have enough, right?
Thankfully, I don't have that addiction.
Yeah. Well, once you get the 3 built, just tell her you're going to sell a couple and sell some of the ones you really don't use, but keep that very first one as memorabilia.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's well, I got started on it in the fall, and then, it gets to be 0 out, and, I'm welding in my garage, and I'm like, well, I have to keep the door open because the fumes. And then I'm like, but then it's 0 degrees out. So I'm like, I don't want to be outside. So it's just been sitting in the garage half done. So
yeah,
it's been a great winter for my wife.
What kind of drums are smokers?
No, I'm doing an offset right now. Nice. Just just a classic, just a standard classic Texas, straight through offset. I'm trying to make it look nice. I'm trying to put some time and energy into it, because this is something I do want to keep. But if my wife asks, I will be selling it. So
if she watches the episode, he's selling it.
I'm selling it, babe. I'm selling it. I promise you.
That's hilarious. So what is it? Is it like a fake law, like an outlaw, only home build?
There's really nothing I'm straight copying it from. I've just kind of been picking up a lot from a lot of different pits that I like. I guess I'll shout them out. I think it was Blue Country or Blue Collar Pits. I think something from them I really liked, and so kind of that's been the quote unquote base. But there's a lot of things I'm picking up from different smokers that I see. And I'm like, oh, I like the way that they add, they add little like hooks on right at the smokestack so that you can like hang stuff on, or like this one has like a really cool like little spot I can put in a tray that like a removable tray, or this one has like a really cool insulated firebox setup. So I'm like, it's a little it's like, it'll kind of be a rat rod in a sense of like of a smoker, but it's going to be something that I'm like, this is an amalgamation of everything that I think looks good and I think will be a good smoker.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Build you like a detachable box for cold smoking cheese right off your smokestack.
Yeah. It gets cold up here. I can do that probably normally.
I'll take the 150. Which one am I looking? I pulled it up while you're 150 gallon smoker of the blue collar pits. I'll take that one. That's a nice smoker. I like the rat rod look of them.
Yeah, is that the one with the big, huge like off road tires?
Yes.
Yeah. That's kind of the one I've been looking at. I think I know exactly which one you're looking at.
But it's not huge. It's like 3-door. It looks like, or three bays kind of. No, 2 big bay ones. But yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. Like I like the look of the rat rod kind of style of smokers.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see if Mark Hunsaker can rust out one of his drums for me, make it a rat rod look.
I'm sure he probably could.
I'm sure he could, absolutely.
Yeah. Who knows?
Or here's an idea, and what I did, I don't 0 out of 10 do not recommend it. Set your garage on fire, and then some of the ash lands just right on the smoker and gives it that nice patina rust smoke look.
Yeah.
Do not recommend it though. Do not do that just for your smoker. But it happened to make mine look pretty good.
You're really just going the extra mile, It's like
that's dedication.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing things right,
I saw. I got pulled mine out, and I was like, well, I guess it made it look a little better actually, which is kind of insane, but
yeah.
That's hilarious. I like that. I like that rat rod look. I want a smoker that looks that way. Brad and I have talked about that. We want one that looks that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think they're like those like real classic, like Texas style smokers. I think look great, but I think the ones that look like they got those big, huge, like all-purpose tire wheels on the side, and they look like kind of I don't want to say like a welder's plaything, but like they're just cool looking to me.
You should get a keg. A keg probably wouldn't be good for a firebox, but something like the gas tank.
Yeah,
that would be good for a firebox.
Yeah. Oh, I
like the looks of like the old red patina trucks, kind of have like
that
style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
I want
what's up?
I'll say I really like like a bluish look to it. But like I think that red, like I saw one that had like almost like this weird like a faded cherry red on one I saw one time, and I was like, that's a gorgeous smoker.
Mm-hmm.
So if I find the right tank with the right color, maybe it'll happen.
Candy apple.
So of all the contests you've cooked, which one's your favorite?
Oh man, that's hard to say. I'll give a shout out to my very first cook. My worst cook, as everyone usually is, because I really, it was like really eye opening for myself, to be, like it's like one of those things where you like, you kind of watch like a lot of YouTube videos, and you watch a lot of like, guys talk about this is what comp barbecue's like, and you're like, okay, cool. Like I got this. And then you show up and everything falls apart and everything is just absolute shit. And it's like, you're lucky to finish, DAL on that day. But you get like that one call. I think I got like a call in Turkey. Like I think I finished fourth, and like they were doing like right at the beginning, like the turkey smoke for the KCBS. It was in Illinois. I forget exactly where in Illinois it was at the top of my head, but I finished fourth in turkey, which is, the only thing I thought was actually edible. And I felt really like, really proud of myself. Me and like a buddy from Chicago, we went down to Illinois and we did this, and we were like, we were just so hyped about getting like there could have been probably 6 people in the whole turkey division for all I remember, but like we got 4th, and it just blew our minds. It was the same. I remember it really well because it was the competition that Brian from Wheezy's Groove and Barbecue, he took first in like ribs and chicken. So I was like, this is the guy who knows his stuff. And that's why every single contest I've had with Brian since then, I go up and talk to him. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing today? What can I learn from you? What can I talk to me? What can you talk to me about? Like that's the one that like I think is like it's an honorary position, but I think I got I think my favorite contest I ever did, it was up here in Wisconsin. It was my 3rd contest I ever did, and it was just a rib burn, just in like we called it frozen bones. It was I show up, and I got my little gateway, my Hunsaker. I'm just cooking ribs, and I'm just trying. I'm like throwing like just whatever at a wall and see what it sticks, kind of. And I'm like, okay, I got like a little something here that's working. I got, just trying something. And I'm like, I'm just hoping to finish better than like, 50%. I want to be at like the 50% mark. That would be like golden for me. And, I'm there, and there is, that's when they tell me that all these big, huge, heavy hitters are all there. And I'm like, I don't know any of these names. I don't know who these people are. But I'm like, I will talk to them afterwards. But like, lo and behold, like I get there, and like, they announce like the top 15, and I'm like, okay, if I don't hear my name from like 15 to 10, I can just like walk out of the building. That's kind of like my mindset at that point. And so they're like 15, 10 to, I'm like, okay, I don't hear my name. I'm like, whatever. So they're doing 10 to 5. I'm like, cool. And I'm like talking to the person next to me, and I'm like, hey, where are you from? Like, how's your life? How's it going? What's going on? And they call, they call up all these people, and then they're like, the second it was QU Barbecue. It was like right after he had won. It was right after he had won the the double, the Open and the Invitational, Grand Championship. Yeah, the Royal. And they call like QU, and they're like making this big deal that oh, QU, and I'm like, oh, that guy must be really important. And I go back to my like conversation, and then they call in our first place Behemoth BBQ, and I'm like, and I'm still talking to the person next to me, and I'm like not even, and they're like Behemoth BBQ, and I'm like, wait, what? And like, so it's like this weird moment, like where it's like and I think I won by like like 100th of a point, and I'm sitting there talking to like, and I forget QU's first name off the top of my head, the second, but like I'm sitting there talking to him, and we're having a really lovely chat, and he's like, Grant. So like, Grant, thank you, yeah, Grant, fantastic. I still text him every once in a while. I shouldn't remember his name, but he's like sitting there like, so like, what did you use? I'm like, whatever spices I could really buy at like Fleet Farm and Cabela's. And he's like, okay, well, what ribs did you use? Like, were you using like Prairie Fresh, or were you using like Compart? I was like, Costco. And like we're just chatting, and then like the guy behind me, it was Dan Dickey, and he's like, hey, I just want to let you know, this is Grant with QU. He's a double like world champion for this past year's American Royal, and I'm like sweating. So like that contest right there is like one that I will always remember, because it's just like, it's like that weird like introduction to like barbecue that you're like, no one should have this.
Grant's like, this guy's such a dick. Just tell me what you used. Was it Prairie Fresh ribs? Was it Smithfield? Was it Hormel?
Like, he's kind of a big deal.
Well, yeah, it's Costco.
It was 100%. It was just like a 3-pack from Costco that I went and bought like the day before.
Hey, and I've done it. Yeah, I mean,
oh, by the way, he's also the only guy that's won back-to-back American Royal titles in 40 years.
Yeah.
Only, just the only one.
Yeah.
Like this past weekend, I did the Royal Backyard down in KCMO, and I'm like, man, I gotta get ribs. Like, chicken's all prepped, vacuum sealed in the freezer. I'm like, I gotta go get ribs, get those prepped. I just run right up to high V, and I'm like, why not? I finished 12th out of 40. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah. I have done spectacularly well with Costco ribs. I've moved on from Costco ribs, but I've done really well with Costco ribs. I'm not going to say I have made good money on Costco ribs in the.
Now he cooks Prairie Fresh Naturals because Creighton told him to.
Primes actually, but yeah.
Hey, look at you.
But yeah, moving up in the world. But no, like I think that like it's like weird stuff like that. Like that one will be like I think probably my favorite contest until I something way bigger. But like that's in my mind that's the contest that like that's my favorite.
It's just even the story of it. I mean, that's always going to be one of your favorite contests because the story to go with it is just phenomenal.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was some like, random shit I found at Fleet Farm. I just threw on my ribs and win. I don't know.
It's not like I had like a set recipe. Like it was like these are things that I like, and they just worked out. I 100% copy that recipe moving forward, but I'll tell you this though about that. It was really weird for myself because like I went from like. That at the beginning of that contest, no one really wanted to talk to me because I'm just like this weird kid in the corner, just like a pop up to like a Hunsaker, a Gateway drum. Like can't even get like the same drum. I'm like off in the corner. And at the end of that, like, everyone's like, let's learn about you. Let's talk to me. Who are you? Like what all this? I'm like, where were you guys at like 2 hours ago when I was like walking around trying to say hi to people?
They're probably like, He's gonna DAL. We ain't wasting the time.
Yeah.
On this one anyway.
So you're married? You're from where? What's your credit card number?
Yeah, it's 100%. They were like, a lot of people were real friendly after that.
Yeah.
What sauce did you use? How'd you wrap?
Yeah, 100%. A lot of weird questions. A lot of good questions, but like a lot of people. Like. I'm getting phone calls from like just random guys congratulating me, and it's like, I'm like, I don't know who you are. I don't. Which team were you? Like, it's like I'm just trying to like remember people, so it's just like
the other world champion that was there.
Yeah,
that's great. So you walk around comps, you meet people. I mean, it's great to have that brotherhood, with the family of everyone in barbecue, because if you forget something and you meet people out there and you just buddies and hang out. I mean, Brad loaned me Tennessee Red one time.
Come on, with Tennessee Red.
Yeah, I am good for forgetting at least one thing per contest. And
I forgot. What did I forget? Aluminum foil one day at a contest. That don't work out very well.
Yeah. Aluminum foil, like this year, I've forgotten aluminum foil, and I forgot cutting boards. And thankfully, you got some really lovely people who are incredible people that will lend you out. Buddy Charlie, Ron, they're good people. They'll just be like, yeah, what do you need? What do you got? I've forgotten the Thermopro. I've forgotten or the ThermoWorks. I've forgotten the. I've forgotten the, I think I forgot a knife one time. Someone was like, here you go. And it's just like, I'm good to forget at least one thing per comp. So you got to have good friends out here and, just being a good team player for the community.
You should take one of those shopping baskets, take a shopping basket, walk to each team and be like, hey man, I left my beer at home. Can I borrow a beer?
Actually, if you know Stone Cold Griller, Steve Parker, if you ever met Steve, is it Steve? I think it's Steve. Stone Cold Grillers. I don't know why that name's it's Steve Parker. Anyway, he's sponsored by a beer company, so he brings a whole cooler of beer at all his contests. He was at Worlds in Kansas, right across from me, and so he just like, hey, you need a beer? Just come on over.
Yep.
Yeah, brewery sponsors him, so he gets a cooler of beer for every contest.
Yeah, I'm the only team that at least I know of that I don't drink while I cook.
I don't either.
Yeah, fine. The moment I turn in ribs, I'll be happy to do like I'll do like a 922 shot. That's fine. But like once ribs turned in, go ahead, I'll crack open whatever, I'll take a shot of whatever, but like
best stay focused.
Yeah.
I don't drink the night before really either because I want to be able to get up with a clear mind.
Yeah. I know.
Of course, there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that get plastered and they cook great the next day. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you guys doing that I need to learn? You know, I need to like watch you guys for a comp.
Now, here's one quick question: are you still hashtag looking for sponsors?
I am. I'm always hashtag looking for sponsors. I am. That's my goal for this year. So like the 2025. So like, I've only been in barbecue for like 3 years now. So my first year was just me trying to figure out what in the world barbecue was. My second year, my kid was born. He's like 1 year old, so I couldn't really do a whole lot. So I'm like, just stay in the game. And like now, third year, I'm like, I'm back. I'm going to be doing like 20 comps this year. Hopefully more if my wife will let me. That's another conversation. Please. I'm going to sell that smoker, babe, I promise. And I'll use that money. So like that's, so like for this year, it's like do good, make some sort of social media presence. Hopefully this hottest grandma barbecue thing will take off. But I am 100% like I want to be like that's the goal for this year is to do well, get my name out there, and like hopefully have some random group be like, I'm gonna take pity on this kid.
Just keep tagging people. I mean, like with Brad and his sauce, me and our rubs. I mean, we watch social media with people tagging just to make sure. Like, are you tagging? Are you that interested in the products? Are you using them? I mean, that's every company has that out there. I mean, they're watching.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're sponsored and by stuff, and like our whatever, our banner or our scroll. I mean, we're sponsored. We're making sure we're always putting the name out somehow, some way.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking about just starting to call out random businesses, see if they'll just maybe like, I'm like Walmart, McDonald's, hashtag, Al's Appliances,
I took like a 14-year hiatus in competitions, and my earlier years, I was sponsored by NOS Energy Drink. And you know what? Yeah. It's the exact same way. I got on, I sent them an email, and I even asked, I was like, look, why are you sponsoring, like NASCAR? NASCAR, okay, you want to call it a sport? Call it a sport. But you want to know what sport is. You're saying they need their energy to drive. We don't get a lot of sleep. Isn't that what an energy drink's for? To boost you up? Yeah. Bam, I got sponsored right there.
I mean, there's a whole like commercial that could be right there. Like you wake up, beer belly out, t-shirt half off, you roll out of a cot, you brush your teeth with like a rib bone, and it's like NOS Energy. It'll get you through the day.
Yeah. We Kevin, the guy that does the YouTube with us, Weekend Bum Barbecue. That's his team name. Well, someone found Bum energy drinks, and Kevin found them also. So now we're all grabbing the Bum energy drink, taking a photo, hashtagging Bum Energy needs to sponsor Weekend Bum Barbecue.
Yeah,
we're all trying to get him sponsored by that.
I did that. So this year, so I also did this. So we did a barbecue fundraiser for our the Fox Valley Barbecue Club. This we did for Old Glory Honor Flight, and I reached out to a buddy of mine. He works for Jepson's in Chicago. They make Malort. I don't know if you're familiar with Malort. Mm-mm. It's it is a liquor that is like grape juice inspired.
Okay.
Some people say it tastes like molded, rotted grape juice or grapefruit. Their tagline is like Malort, like for the drinker who prefers double fisting. It's like, it's they lean into being a very bad liquor. Like it's not something people want to drink.
Yeah. And
they lean into that. And they sent us these two beautiful bottles of bourbon that we could use for our fundraiser. That we gave away as part of like a card draw. And so I told them as a thank you, I would use their liquor in part of my rib recipe that I got calls for, thankfully. And I was like, hey, maybe I could turn this into a sponsorship. And I'm like, I want to be the official barbecue team of Jepson's Malort. I want that as my sponsorship. And like a couple of guys were like, why? Why would you want this? And I'm like, I'm desperate over here.
Oh, that's great, though. That's great. So, yeah, keep putting hashtag looking for sponsors and tag everybody you use. Somebody's going to pick you up.
Or like Lane York, who you tagged MasterCard and One Financial and all of his credit cards.
I'm 100%. I'm just going to start tagging every company I know. I'm just like, just look around my room, just be like, what do I got here? Brake cleaner,
gotta keep your truck ready.
Yeah, just so Samsung fridge,
So what do you think of Rib Cook-Off as far as compared to KCBS Backyard? What are some things you like about them?
I love it. It's really fantastic. I think one of the biggest things is it's so much, I don't want to say like easier, but it's much more, I think, competitor focused.
Yes, very much.
Yeah,
so.
there's nothing wrong with the KCBS. I love KCBS. Every organization has their own ups and downs and own problems. I'm not, but there is a different mindset going into a rib cook-off than a KCBS, cook-off for ribs. The way it's always been explained to me, and which I've been focusing my philosophy on, is that it is not, you're not trying to get that rib to like this one very specific spot of like doneness and whatever. Like the way that the organizers have been talking about, like the rib can fall off the bone. Like you could pick up the rib, the meat can fall off, and if the judge picks up that rib and the fall of the meat and eats it and likes it, they can still give you a perfect score. It's not like this huge thing. It's like it's very much more focused towards like just putting out a good rib. And it's very different in a mindset. Sometimes I think the biggest challenge for myself is like the time turn in. So KCBS, you get that 10-minute window, 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after. In the at least 2 rib cooks I've done so far, they have a 30-minute window, and it's if the turn-in's at 1, the window starts at 1. So you have you can go from 1 to 1:30 to turn in your ribs, and then you're like trying to do a mind game of like, do I turn in at 1? Do I turn in at like 1:30? And so I had talked to the organizer, and I'm like, hey, are you taking these ribs right to table immediately? Or are you waiting till you get like 3, rib turn-ins to turn in, or like 6 rib? Like, what do you, she's like, once we get them, we take them right to a table.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay. So I don't have to worry about like stacking my rib turn in with other people,
let them sit on the table and wait.
Yeah. It feels a little, I don't want to like, it feels more competitor friendly, and I think even judge friendly in a sense,
It is.
It really is, I think, beneficial for, I think for myself, especially as a solo guy, just showing up. I like to cook ribs. I do them pretty well, and I can, like this, like it works out well for me. Yeah. So I think, KCBS has some really great things. But there's a little bit more stress, I think, that comes with a KCBS comp. Got to make sure the lettuce looks right. And, now I'm like worried too much about the salad versus the ribs. And then I'm like worried about, all these like little things. And I'm like, there's so many things that could go wrong in a box when like with the rib cook-off, I can just slop those ribs into the basket and they're pulling them off anyway. That's when they judge them, is when they're on the plate in front of them rather than the box. So there's a part of me that's like, I feel better about that if it's like needs to be a rush turn in. So it's just a different mindset.
Do they leave you comment cards?
No, there's no comment cards.
No, not yet. I've been asking for them though. I've been like, trying to push, because they're asking for feedback. I'm like, can we get comment cards? Can we get, something? That's the only thing that I think my biggest gripe is I wish there were comment cards.
Yeah, no,
I did the third. I love it. I did a rib cook off. It was a triple. It was in Kansas, and I had to redo my baby back because I know it's in the box and they don't judge it that way, but I'm OCD about still trying to make it pretty. And I like to turn in 30-minute turn-in window because I redid my baby back rib box like 4 times before I finally found the way I liked it. And then you don't have to, like, literally, I just grabbed the boxes from when they gave them to me, put the ribs in them, and sent them. You don't have to worry about all that extra lettuce. Yeah. And then I like that there's no meat inspection. I hate meat inspection.
Also nice, yeah. I think that like my OCD brain, when it comes to this moment is like, I still want to make the box look pretty. I'm like wiping down the box and all this stuff. And, I think for it was this last one in Manawa, like I was kind of like, I couldn't get, like, the ribs were just a little too, I cut them a little too thick on the ones I was using. So I couldn't get, I couldn't get that 5-in-1 just right. And so I was like, I'm just like trying to figure it out. I'm like, whatever, just get it in the box, just send it, It's like it's like 8 inches of snow. I'm like, that's the snow that poured on the ribs anyway. And I'm like, just send it in, just go.
When the snow melts, it might be a little extra sauce, a little
yeah. I'm like, they're gonna be cold by the time I get to the door anyway. Let's just get them in there.
That's great.
I couldn't imagine doing a contest like that. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I will say though, if anyone out there is listening and you want to try barbecue contest, 100% find a Rib Cook-Off Association contest.
I agree.
It is an incredible way to like get into barbecue. I wish it's around 3 years ago. I would have probably tried this rather than jumping like to a KCB backyard.
Yeah.
Cheaper. But like cheaper, absolutely cheaper. You can find some contests where like the ribs are provided when you like register. It could be just a single rib. It could be a dual rib and an ancillary, something like that. But like, it is a great way, I think, for guys to get into the competitive world of barbecue.
I'm doing one in Kansas. I think it's either $200 or $275 for an entry fee. But it's a double ribs, but ribs are provided and wings. So I mean, there's half your cost right there. So wings aren't that expensive to throw some wings in a box and go.
Is that the one at the winery?
Yep, that's the one at Lathe at the winery. I'm 99% sure I'm going to cook that one.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We should come out there on that one, Brian. Rib cook-offs are fun. You should enter one.
What's the date?
May 3rd.
May 3rd.
Yep.
Okay.
That's a possibility.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, they are. They're really, it's really like a good vibe. I mean, at least the ones in Wisconsin so far, they're just a good vibe.
They're like, they remind me of what KCBS was 20 years ago, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. Which Brian don't know what that's like, but
yeah.
I
mean, they're more laid back. Honestly, if I had enough to do those, I would do 90% of those. I enjoy that.
Yeah. I'm looking at doing primarily like I still have the KCBS backyard lineup ready, but like a good lion's share of what I'm doing this year is Rib Cook-Off.
And if they I feel like the competitors are a little more friendly too to walk around with, as far as to talk to and meet up with. And
I think it's just because it's like at least for the ones that it's just ribs. It's not like I think with at least in my experience, like the backyard world, like the guys are like worried, like trimming up chicken, like final touches, or they're doing all this little stuff with like all these like time things. But like with ribs, it's like they're on. Then you wrap them, and it's like you still got like half an hour or whatever you're working with, and you just got time to sit and talk.
Yeah.
As long as you keep like a halfway eye on like that your cooker isn't like shot up to like 500. You're kind of like, okay, whatever.
Well, if it does, throw a steak on it.
Yeah, like just live your best life.
And then also it's like whenever I even do 90% of my trimming there in the trailer, and it doesn't take, it's ribs. It don't take long to trim your ribs.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like it's such a like an easy go environment that like it's just a fun environment to be around. And I'm not saying that like a KCBS environment isn't or can't be fun, but like there is a bit more of a hush hush environment to like KCBS when like, what are you doing? Like, what's like, if I went to I went down the row at a rib cook-off and I'm like, hey man, what are you using today? And they're like, come on over, let me show you all my rubs. I do. Yep. It's like, Like I'm using this year, or like they sent me a box this year and I'm trying them out or whatever.
I went to the flea market.
Went to Fleet Farm.
Went to Flea Farm. Went to Cabela's. Whatever Walmart had in stock.
Bought my ribs at Costco.
Bought my ribs at Costco, 100%. But like at a KCBS comp, like sometimes it's like a little bit more like, oh, this is my secret sauce. I can't tell you what's in the secret sauce. I'm like, is it apple cider vinegar, brown sugar, molasses, probably maybe ketchup? I don't like.
Hey, we can't get into secret sauce recipes on here tonight.
Oh, sorry.
No, I can tell people 90% of barbecue sauce is made with the same stuff, and then whatever little tweaks. It's the amounts of stuff and a little tweaks at the end is what does it.
Yeah, and I'm like, we're all here. Like half of us are all using the same stuff anyway. Yep. Like that's like, the things is like, when I, first like started, I was like, I saw all these guys using the same brands and I'm like, well, I got to start using those brands. And then I'm like, I don't like those. So I'm like, what do I got to start using? But then like now they're starting to use stuff that I've been picked up on. And so like, when I was like one of the first guys, at least that I saw up here in Wisconsin, I was like using like JDQ. Mm-hmm. And, but now like half teams out there are using JDQ. And I'm like, well, there goes my secret, I guess, which I was telling everybody anyway, because I'm like, it's so good. Everyone try this.
JDQ, that's not a big secret, at least around here.
No, it's not. It took a while. It took like a hot second for like Wisconsin, but like I've been in love with that for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, Josh DeWitt from Kansas City. So
Brian from Wheezy's Brew and Barbecue, he was like putting me on it. Like whenever I went and chat with him, and he was like, they're just coming out with this secret one. It's called Spicy, and I'm like, oh. And I'm like, let me try it. So so I've been using that, but now everybody's using like pretty much the same stuff again. So I'm like, okay, I just got to be, I just got to hopefully like they like mine a little bit more than the next guy. So
half of, especially KCBS, I still argue is a tenderness game anyway. He gets a tenderness taste.
Yeah. That's. I always feel like I'm right on the money when it's gone.
Darren Worth said he uses the same 3 rubs for all 4 meats, and that's all he uses. And if he nails tenderness, he's going to have a good day. If he doesn't, then it's not a good day.
Yeah.
Of all people to say that, Darren Worth's one that should know.
Yep.
Mr. I can qualify for the Jack Daniel on 1 drum with 4 meats.
Go to barbecue.
That's skill right there. No, I feel like 100%. If I turn in a rib that I'm like, I'll make or break on tenderness on this one, I know that like it's going to be, I'm either going to be like top of the table or I'm going to be DAL, so I'm like, okay, it's like 90% of KCBS. So if I hear a call, I'm like, okay, tenderness was good. Yep. If I don't hear a call, like tenderness was just off today.
Well, tenderness affects taste. It does, because if it's tight, it affects how it's going to taste too. I mean, or if they're falling apart mushy, or or if it tastes like fish, like Brian had on his chicken last year.
I ask for comment cards. I always want a comment card because it just helps people.
Yeah.
And, I mean, not that I need them, but because, I mean, you sit back and you start thinking, you can kind of figure where you messed up or what you need to do.
Yeah.
And we get one back, it's like, tastes fishy. I'm like, huh, that's interesting. Didn't taste fishy to me or anyone else.
What'd you brine it with? Shrimp?
Yeah. Well, I get a comment card over the weekend that I'm like, all right, I got a comment card. Cool. How's this going to help me? It was all 9s and it said, kick ass. I'm like,
I mean, I'll take that.
Awesome,
I would take that.
Yeah. But
what was it on?
What meat was it on? I'm still like, how can you help me though?
what meat was it on?
Ribs.
Yeah. Well, that's like Lane York said he did one time and it was all 9s and it said don't change a thing. So that's a good comment card. Well, it tells you don't freaking touch your recipe.
There was a team down there at the Backyard Royal that got a 6. And the guy was a judge, and he goes, hey, I want a comment card on my 6. And they're like, well, they don't have to give comment cards. And we're like,
They don't, but they're strongly
suggested. You're supposed to on a 6 per judging class, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's always like been the biggest like gripe I think I have with the KCBS is that like like when I judged, because I started out doing some judging before I started the competing process, because I feel like it's a good way to go. And I made sure that I was like, if I give anybody a 7, I'm telling them why I gave them a 7. Like I'm commenting on every single piece of meat, basically. Like I would 100% wrote like all 9s, super great. Like keep it up, don't change a thing. I would happy to write that in all 9s. But I was like the only person writing cards, and they were like getting upset with me because they were like, we need the next rib, like write later. And I'm like, this is what we're supposed to be doing, is commenting on like these ribs or like the chicken or whatever. So I'm like,
I'm not going to remember which rib was which after that dude gives me a spicy one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is what it is.
Or like the 5s I gave one year at Olathe. I never given out below a 7 before in my life, and I gave out 2 5s in pork. When you don't even know what it is you're eating, that's...
We had one
box that was like a fried pork fritter covered in, I don't even know what it was. And the second box was nothing but like pulled pork with like no seasoning, but the entire box was full. Yeah. Like they literally just pulled the pork like normal and just threw it in the box. And that was what they cooked. So no seasoning, no sauce, no nothing. Just bland pulled pork.
We had one exactly like that, but it was I forget what it was like. I think it was over at Jellystone Park in Wisconsin. And I was judging, someone turned in a rack of ribs untrimmed and like still had the flap on the back, didn't remove the membrane, unseasoned, like they looked gray as all get out. And they turned them in upside down. So like membrane up.
Did they sous vide them or something?
I don't know what happened with this. Like the judge took them away, like the table captain took them away because he first thought they were wrapped in like a weird bacon because the membrane was still on there, or the membrane and the flap. So they took away, but they brought them back because they were like, oh wait, somebody just doesn't know anything. So we ate them, but they were terrible. I think it was probably the lowest score I ever gave, and I wrote down, everyone pulled out the sheet for that one, thankfully, but. I wrote down, I'm like, listen, man, here's what you need to do to fix this. Flip your ribs over, sauce them, add seasoning, try, I think I wrote try at one point. I don't know.
Like do something with them. Like that's when you want to poke them with a stick and be like, do something. Like,
yeah.
See, I couldn't do that. I'd be like, you're not smarter than a 5th grader.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Well, they probably think their barbecue is the best ever, and just heavy smoke is all they need.
So, 100%. Quick question for you.
Sure.
Who would you rather tag team with, Hulk Hogan, The Rock, or Triple H?
Oh man, that's that's a great question. Hulk Hogan immediately out, because I know that like Hulk Hogan would have won all the the fanfare, the shine. I'd be the one in the ring getting like my butt kicked for like 90% of the match, and Hulk Hogan has just to come in and do a big boot and a leg drop, and the match is over, and I'm doing all the work. I would say, if in a dream moment, I would say The Rock.
Okay.
I think that would be like, because I feel like The Rock would want to go into the ring and like take some time to. Like he wouldn't like give me the full brunt of getting my butt kicked.
Okay.
Now,
who would you like to have like the 4 horsemen? Like Dean, whatever his name.
Dean Malenko.
Yeah, Dean Malenko, Arn Anderson. So your own 4 horsemen team.
Oh man. So am I on this team, or I'm making a new 4 horsemen?
You're on the team. Behemoth is on the team, so you got 3 more.
This is going to be a bad team.
You can go as far as Rey Mysterio. You can go back to George the Animal Steel if you want. I mean, you can go Iron Sheik. You can go way back. Or like with me, Stone Cold right here. That's one of my guys.
Fantastic. I love Stone Cold. Never got a chance to meet him, so he'd be a dream to meet.
Stunning Steve, depending.
the ringmaster general right there, I would say Macho Man Randy Savage, 100%, right there as like my favorite wrestler of all time.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like what we got going on over here? Yeah, don't talk to Miss Elizabeth. But I think Scott Hall.
Oh yeah.
Scott
Hall or Razor Ramon.
I prefer Scott Hall.
NWO.
But, yeah, NWO Scott Hall, like just by a hair, but like Razor Ramon, man. Oh man, like this is the character itself. I think that it was such a good character. I think I would have loved to see him like do that for like another 5 years. But like Scott Hall, just because I feel like he could have been like one of those guys that could have came back and just like done Razor Ramon in a heartbeat, and no one would have cared.
Yeah.
I would say after that, the person who I'm gonna not Ric Flair, because again he's just gonna be like, like Ric Flair is fantastic. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of showboat. I'm gonna go with an undercard appreciation. R-Truth. So he's been in the wrestling game for forever.
Mm-hmm.
He's like 50 years old, still goes at a super high level, one of the funniest guys in wrestling, and constantly is entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for myself, so like, I have to think about this. Okay, if the Four Horsemen, and I got Macho Man Randy Savage, and I got Scott Hall, and I got like R-Truth, I got to be working with R-Truth, and we're going to be working a tag division.
Yeah.
Where, because like Scott Hall is going to be going for like the World Heavyweight Championship, which he should have had, or Macho Man's going to be going for the World Heavyweight Championship, and then they're going to be doing the Intercontinental, the other one. So I got to be working with R-Truth, and I want someone who's going to work really good, because that means that I don't have to work as much, and that's good mindset right there.
So here's your team name then. Instead of Degeneration X, it's going to be the Degenerates.
Oh, that's a good one.
Dude, that'd be mine, because I'm like, I need to have a high flyer. So I'm between Rey Mysterio and Jeff Hardy on my team. One of those two.
Great choices.
It's got to have the high flyer.
It depends. Do you want like, Stone Cold, but like, do you want something that's like more technical? Because like Jeff Hardy always made it look like he didn't know what he was doing, but he was doing such cool stuff. It was just like this moment where you're like, you're going to break something, and I'm worried every single time you jump.
Yep. Well, yeah, but that's like Rey Mysterio. That dude's like 4'2", gets on the top ring buckle and jumps like 12 foot in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I tell you, good times. Well, we're about out of time, so I'm going to give you your chance. Here's your hashtag. I'm looking for sponsors.
Oh, good.
Who do you want to shout out?
I'm going to shout out the people in barbecue that have made me where I am today. Sponsors, you can take a side step in a second. I need to shout out the people that have made me and helped me get where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
So number one shout out, Tim Shop from Wisconsin, the grandfather of Wisconsin barbecue. You've been fantastic in helping me get to where I am, and I'm doing contests and helping me out through various spots. Grant with QU Barbecue. You're one of the first people that, I could call and text, ask questions, and like I would just send them random pictures and be like, "What does this look right?" Anytime I go show up to a contest, I'm like, I can go talk to Grant. Brian with Wheezy's Grew and Barbecue. One of the guys that I can walk into his tent and we're hugging and we're like having a good time, and he's showing me everything. Like what rubs he's using, what the secret sauce is. Like I've 90% of what I'm doing is because of Brian, and he just showed me everything. I'm going to shout out Dan Dickey. I'm going to shout out Scott Nardi, world steak champion, Paul Pierk. I'm going to say his last name wrong. Paul, world chicken champion from Mrs. May. I'm going to shout out a couple of great Wisconsin cooks. Let's do Jay. I'm going to get his last name wrong, but I'm going to go Casella, Jeff Heers, all some fantastic steak cooks from the Fox Valley Barbecue Club. I want to shout out like everybody who's like helped me get to where I am right now. Dustin with Meat Sweats Barbecue. He's number one in the Rib Cook-Off Association right now. Fantastic guy. I really just want to be like, these are the people who helped me get to where I am and help me be better, because I'm trying to chase them, or I'm trying to get to them, or they're helping me out with little things. But sponsors, please, please, please. I'm poor. Please, 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 please. Sponsors, I have this really good 1990s PBS Carpenter look, like this is a poster child for your brand.
Bob Vila right here.
Bob Vila 2.0 right
That's what I
now.
was thinking.
Come at me, sponsors. No, I want to, like there's lots of like teams that like and other people that I could shout out. There's names are forgetting me, but like people who've been fantastic and nice to me and willing to talk and I can learn from. So I want to shout those people out because they've been so instrumental and impactful. So they are just what helps me get to the next level. So and for everybody who ever gave me something because I forgot something at home at a barbecue contest, I also thank you. So
that's great. Well, we want to say thank you for coming on.
Coming on.
And
thank you guys.
Man, good luck in the future endeavors, RCOA. Hopefully you stay top 10 throughout the whole year.
Still there. So we'll see. There's way too many contests in like Oklahoma and Texas for me to ever like stay there. But we got a good number in Wisconsin, which has really been really, really thankful for. So
that's awesome.
But I got to do a little more traveling to keep up there. But I'm batting 1,000 on calls right now for every contest I've been in. So we'll see how long that goes. Again, sponsors, please. I'm poor.
Nice.
So.
Well, thank you for coming on.
No, thank you guys. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Have a good one.
You too. Thanks, guys.
See ya.